students and faculty. Welcome to the 8th Multilingual Poetry Reading of the Department of World Languages and Cultures. My name is Manuel Apodaca Valdez. I am an associate professor of Spanish, and I will conduct the program today. And I just want to say some things that I've written down in order to not forget what I have to say, especially thank you. We are proud to open the 8th edition of the Multilingual Poetry Reading. Throughout these years, we have done a lot of work, especially faculty and students in the Department of World Languages and Cultures. And this is the second time we have a guest poet as a special guest, as a special invitee from the College of Liberal Arts. I want to acknowledge Dean James Beebe and the College of Liberal Arts for its financial support and generosity to make possible the visit of guest poet Rolf Hermann, who came from Switzerland, especially to enhance this event. I also want to thank Dr. Sylvia Rowe and all my colleagues in the World Languages and Cultures Department. Without your support, this event would have not been possible. Lastly but not least, I want to thank all students who participate in the Multilingual Poetry Reading, and thanks to all of you for attending this event. So without any further, I will introduce Rolf Hermann, who is now with us.
He's not sorting through papers anymore. That's electronic way now. He tries to be all present now.
Rolf Hermann was born in 1973. He studied English and German literature in Bern and Fribourg, Switzerland, as well as in Iowa, USA. He writes poetry, prose, and radio plays in German. He lives with his family in Biel, Switzerland. Hermann's publications include 3 books of poetry: Homage to Backstroke Swimming in Chicago and Elsewhere in 2007, Chronicles of Crash Landing, published in 2011, and Cartography of Snow, published in 2014. A book with spoken word text, also titled Life is a Steep Slope, published in 2017. And a book with stories, Ephemeral Home, in 2018. He has also published several CDs of radio plays and spoken word performances. His poems have been translated into Arabic, English, French, Italian, Lithuanian, Polish, and Spanish. Amazing. And have been included in various literary magazines and anthologies. Angelica Barat, a writing literary critic from the Neue Zürcher Zeitung, sorry for my pronunciation in German.
But the name of that newspaper has never sounded better to me.
She described his words as follows. Quote, Hermann had wires, space, and time, and sometimes flashes into being a new sense, a beauty, something which often makes us simple. Sometimes which often makes us smile. His work belongs among the most exciting reads in contemporary German language poetry. Rolf Hermann is a member of the poetry group Basel, which organizes an annual lyric festival. Furthermore, he teaches creative writing at the Swiss Literature Institute in Biel. For his creative work, Rolf Hermann has received recognition throughout a number of literary awards, which include the Cultural Encouragement Prize of the Canton of Valais, 2009, Writer in Residence for Poetry in Tübingen, 2010, the Rilke Encouragement Prize in 2012, the Literary Prize of the Canton of Berne in 2015, a writing grant from Pro Helvetia in 2015, as well as the Cultural Prize of the City of Biel in 2017. Please join me welcome Rolf Hermann. Thank you. And he will read in German his poems, and Dr. Bartel Bear is going to read in English translations of the poems.
I think I will try without the microphone. If you think it's not possible, you tell me, especially the people in the back row, then I will take the microphone and I will try to use it. But how's it going so far? Is it okay? All right. Well, I'm very honored to be here. I would like to thank especially Silvia Rode for inviting me. It's wonderful to be back in the States. I haven't been here for 10 years. The last time I was here was in 2008, and I thought it was time to come back again. First time in Evansville. I will come back many times, I hope, with my kids, and we will go out and eat tasty shrimps like we did yesterday. I'm also very happy for that lovely introduction from Manuel. Thank you very much for doing that, and thank you very much, Mr. Bartel. Beck? It's right, it's Beck. Mr. Mountain. It already fits the slide. Perfect. I grew up in the Canton of the Valais. There are like 26 cantons in Switzerland. The canton I grew up in is the canton where there are the highest mountains. There are about 40 mountains above 12,000 feet high, and I spent a lot of time not only amongst them but also on top of them. So that's why Mr. Berg has been chosen to follow me. Mr. Mountain to my left, Mountain is in the back, Mountain is in the text. Yeah, I will read in German, and then every now and then I will also show you some slides, and if a question pops up, you're always welcome to ask a question. We can also stop. I'm quite flexible with the reading. Whatever you wish, I will try to do it for you. Almost everything. Prolog. Siehe, ich mache wenig Neues, bin faul wie eine Schnecke, die sich nur an Regentagen nach draußen wagt. Daran ändert auch die Ernte nichts, im Gegenteil. Je kürzer der Sprung, desto einträglicher die Felder. Solches wiederhole ich im Flüsterton, als sähe ich die längst vertraute Strecke zum ersten Mal.
Prologue. Behold, I put forth few novelties. I'm lazy like a snail that only dares to go out on rainy days. Not even the crop will change that. On the contrary, the shorter the leap, the more bountiful the fields. Such things I repeat, whispering as if I were seeing the long-known stretch for the first time.
I'm quite interested in American poetry, and I used to read quite a bit of Ezra Pound, and there's a famous imperative in his works that say, make it new, make it new. And I was fascinated by that, but somehow also slightly turned off. And I thought, I need to write a poem that goes against that idea. Let's not always make it new, but maybe let's make it different. Irgendwas Gedichtband. Ich öffne den Briefkasten und überquere eine Straße. Irgendwas muss man sagen, der hart betonierte Gehweg. Es ist circa 18 Uhr, die welken Blätter der Birke im Vorgarten wie sanftes Sonnenlicht. Zum Glück keine Rechnungen, Papierfetzen auf dem Asphalt und Gedanken an eine Frau mit langem weißen Haar, die an einem Stock geht. Heute heißt sie Friederike. Oder für eine Weile in einem Gedichtband blättern und von Arezzo träumen. Auf der fleckigen Panoramakarte die vorläufigen Namen der Gipfel, ein in sich hineinsprechen, ringsherum die welken Blätter im Vorgarten. Es heißt, war hier und verschob eine Schneegrenze, dass die Augen schmerzten unweit des Aussichtspunktes.
Something, Book of Poems. I open the mailbox and cross a street. You need to say something. the sidewalks solid concrete. It's about 6 p.m. The weathered leaves of a birch tree in the front yard, like smooth sunlight. Fortunately, no bills. Scraps of paper upon the asphalt and thoughts about a woman with long white hair walking with a cane. Today, her name is Friederike. Or leaf through a book of poems for a while and dream of Arezzo. On a dappled panoramic map, the tentative names of summits. A speaking into yourself. All around, the withered leaves in the front yard. They say, was here and shifted the snow line so that the eyes hurt, not far from the observation point.
The name Friederike is kind of like an allusion to a rather famous Austrian poet, Friederike Mayroecker. Those who study German and might be interested in poetry, I can highly recommend her. It's fascinating what she does. There are pictures of her in her little atelier. It's an incredible mess. There are little notes everywhere, books everywhere, and she kind of looks like a marmot, almost in I don't know, in her little cave there, and it's fascinating. She puts those notes together, and that's how lots of poetry of hers comes into being, and it's fascinating. Friederike Mayroecker, just to see a picture of her is already quite an event. Grüße aus Flandern. An einem Samstag wie diesem sollte eigentlich mehr drin liegen als ein paar zusammengewürfelte Wörter und Sätze, die sich im Schneetreiben wieder verlieren. Also vergleiche ich Flugpreise nach Amsterdam oder Rotterdam und schreibe Weihnachtskarten über brennende Kerzen auf Adventskränzen oder über unscheinbare Liebespaare, die Schlittschuh laufen auf gefrorenen flämischen Seen des 16. Jahrhunderts, bis ich den frischen Schnee in deinen Haaren rieche, sonst glaubt mir sicher niemand, dass ich beim Schauen durchs Dachfenster schon draußen stehe und mich von Flocken ernähre.
Greetings from Flanders. Actually, there should be more in the cards than a few words serendipitously thrown together and sentences that get lost again in a flurry. So I start comparing pricing on airfares to Amsterdam or Rotterdam and jot down holiday greetings in the light, burning candles on Advent wreaths, or in view of inconspicuous lovers while they are ice skating on frozen over Flemish lakes of the 16th century, until I smell the fresh fallen snow in your hair. Otherwise, nobody'd believe that I'm already standing outside while I gaze through the roof hatch and feed on snowflakes.
There's a word in the translation that has occupied my mind quite a bit, and I would like the native speakers to give me their opinion. In German, it's Schneetreiben, like a sort of a snowstorm. And English translation is flurry. And when I hear the word flurry, I always imagine some strange healthy drink, McFlurry or something like that. And it doesn't seem to work in that poem. Does that work for you, flurry? You see snow drifting, snowdrifts? Okay. Oh, excellent.
It's just a little bit of snow.
Just a little bit of snow.
It's not a heavy snow.
Okay.
The Minnesotan.
Okay. The only thing I see in front of me is thinly sliced guacamole. That doesn't seem to work in that form. But I'm happy to hear that you think it's alright. Nördlich von Alexandria. And we talked about that when we also talked about the poem. Yes, it's Alexandria in Egypt. There's another Alexandria.
There are lots of Alexandrias, but this one is talking about Egypt.
Ja. Okay. Nördlich von Alexandria. Gehen wir auf Sand oder gehen wir auf Schnee? Kurz nach 5, wenn der erste Zug den Bahnhof verlässt und die Busse schwebend ihre Runden drehen, ist es Anfangs Februar in Alexandria. Bewölkt, 16 Grad mit leichten Regenschauern und fast unbemerkt reiht sich der Sonntag an den Samstag und mein Atem sich an deinen. Du sagst, vom Träumen ist noch keiner satt geworden und reichst mir ein Wasserglas aufs Neue. Betten wir uns in den unerfahrenen Tag.
North of Alexandria. Are we walking on sand or treading on snow? Just after 5, when the first train leaves the station and buses are floating, circling on their routes. It is early February in Alexandria, cloudy in the low 60s with light showers, and unnoticeably Sunday sneaks up on Saturday. And my breath onto yours, you say, from dreams, nobody has become full so far, and pass a glass of water onto me again. We go to bed in an inexperienced day.
Thank you very much. Ohne Titel. Sobald die Tinte trocknet, geh auf gefrorenem Boden. Zieh den Hut tief ins Gesicht, das angeschwemmt und weit von sich geschleudert, wie ein Schwalbennest, zertrümmert, zu deinen Füßen liegt. Du hebst es auf und gehst mit gedämpften Schritten weiter deinen Weg.
Untitled. As soon as the ink is dry, go out onto the frozen earth. Pull your hat low into your face that is washed up and wide. Hurls away from itself like a swallow's nest smashed up. Lay at your feet. You pick it up and go on with hushed steps, continuing your path.
Vielen Dank. Vielen Dank. I started writing poetry when I was quite young. I taught some of Sylvia's classes and some other classes as well. I was 10 years old, and then I had a teacher at primary school who made us write a lot of essays. I remember that particular Monday, he said, please write about something that you experienced this weekend, and then I will grade it. So I had an hour to write like everybody else in the classroom. I wrote about going swimming indoors and what we had for dinner that evening. And the next day he came back and he stood up in front of everybody and then he started reading my little story. And he looked at me and said, "You're going to be a writer, I know it." And I was 10 years old, I had no idea what writers actually really did besides writing. I thought that must be interesting, but I also want to do something else with my life. But somehow that idea was in my head ever since I was 10 years old. I went to the little library we had. I started reading tons of books because I was curious about what you can do with words. And I did that for a while. I also had a little booklet and I wrote stuff in it and made little drawings and so on and so forth. And I did that for quite a while, and then I hit the teenage years. Things started changing, other things became a lot more interesting than words. I started playing lots of soccer as well. And I went from one disco to the other on my little motorcycle, which I liked very much. But then when I was 15 years old, I had quite a terrible accident on that motorcycle, and I was taken to the hospital. That hospital they told me I may never be able to walk again, and that was a serious surgery. So all the stuff that was important to me, playing soccer, being outdoor, going everywhere, kind of just faded, just went away. And it was a difficult time. I had to go to physiotherapy for about a year. And within that year, when lots of things are being put into question, I had a good friend of mine who became extremely interested in reading. And when I went to high school, we always took a regional train, then we went up the little valley to the high school. He looked at me and said, "You need to start reading again." And he gave me a book, and the book had been written by then a rather famous Swiss author with the name of Friedrich Dürrenmatt. And he opened the book and said, "Here is an essay by him. That's the one you need to read because you like soccer." And the title was FC Switzerland, Football Club of Switzerland. And he wrote about the history of Switzerland in terms of a soccer club. Somehow a success story, somehow also a failure, like in lots of countries. Some things were better than the others. And it was immediately in love again with that essay. I finished it, gave him back the book the next day. I went to the library, or the bookshop, I bought the collected works of Dürrenmatt because he was dead by then, and read through all of them, finished them, went back to the bookshop again, got all the books by Max Frisch, another Swiss author, and I read it, and I started writing again. And had some weird teachers at high school, but also some very good teachers, and one of those very good teachers was a German literature teacher, and we started reading Franz Kafka, we started reading expressionist poetry, Georg Trakl, and so on, and somehow I got very interested in it again, and then all of a sudden I wanted to write again. So what happens when I use words, and what will come out of it? And then we had 4 other people in the same class that also were interested in writing, so we often sat together, drank some beer, read the stuff to each other, criticized each other, and we did that for quite a while. And then I finished high school, I went on to university and started studying English literature especially, and I loved American poetry, as I said before. And then I discovered Emily Dickinson, I discovered Walt Whitman, I discovered John Ashbery, who's unfortunately dead for about 2 years. And I think that was very important for me at the beginning, Bill Collins as well. And some of the poems that you heard come out actually from the first 2 books. And I think it's closer to American poetry in my eyes than it is to, for example, German or Swiss poetry. And another thing that was quite important to me back then was that my grandmother was a farmer. She had 6 kids and a husband, lots of cows, lots of pigs. She lived up in the mountains, and she actually wrote poetry herself. She always wanted to leave the mountains because it was too strenuous to work there, but instead of leaving, she decided in the 60s that she was going to travel into her inner world and started writing beautiful, to me very touching poetry. And there were situations where we visited my grandmother, and there were like 8, 10 people at the table, and then we talked about lots of banal things, banalities as well, like how much sugar should we put into a coffee, how much should we cook the meat, and so on and so forth. But every now and then she said, "Now silence!" And we all were in awe and didn't dare to utter a word. Which is when she said, "I've written something new." And then she took out her little notepad and she read a poem to us that she'd just written yesterday. And all of a sudden, in those moments, in the midst of all the daily stuff, you could hear a voice that was so extremely close to herself. It was actually quite amazing. And then she finished, there was a silence, and then people started making jokes again, and she was fine. And I think I've come to realize that a few years ago. I think a lot of my writing actually comes from that situation. You laugh, you joke, you talk about everyday stuff, and then all of a sudden there's a voice that comes out that wants to tell you something important. And I also did a radio play on my grandmother where she reads her poetry. It was some of the most intense times I've actually spent with somebody. So I think the grandmother was very important. The Dürrenmatt, the Frisch was important. The well-established writers are important. That somebody just does that without any goal because it needs to be done. That was fantastic for me. So I think a lot of the writing actually has to do with my grandmother. One prize was mentioned before that I received, and I was very pleased and very honored to receive it. It was a writer's grant that took me to Germany, to Tübingen. It was one of the first writing grants I got, and when you try to write and live from it, sometimes getting prizes, sometimes getting writer's grants or fellowships and stuff like that is extremely helpful. And I went to Tübingen, which is in the southern part of Germany. A beautiful town, not destroyed in the Second World War. It looked like centuries ago, century past, it still looked the same. And a very important German poet is actually buried there, Friedrich Hölderlin. So I was very excited to go there because I've always been fascinated by him. And I remember I arrived at the beginning of October. The 2 ladies from the culture department of Tübingen picked me up. We went to the office, we talked about all kinds of stuff for about an hour, and then I asked, "So can you please tell where I'm going to stay?" And then they went completely silent. And I thought, oh, that's not a good sign. Where will they put me? Some cellar? Or what? I said, "Oh no, you just come with us, we're going to show you." And then Mr. Berg knows Tübingen quite well because he also studied there, so it was great talking to him about some of the poems yesterday. He immediately knew where they took place. We went through a big park, then we came to some university buildings, we went up the street, and all of a sudden in front of me I saw this really high stone wall. Very high stone wall. That was one, what the heck is probably behind here? Then we followed that wall, and then there's a little opening, a little gate in that door, in that wall, and then they said, okay, this is where you go. So we opened the door, went in, went up a flight of stairs, and went up again to the second floor, and they told me, this is where you're going to stay. And I thought, oh, this is a weird place. It looks old, a little bit dilapidated, but probably safe. And then I walk into that apartment, walk across the floor, go to the kitchen window, look outside, and I am not living at the cemetery, I'm living on the biggest cemetery in Tübingen. All the walls were actually surrounded by graves. And it started quite early, 6 years old. I was terrified by the idea that we would have to die. And I thought, this might not be such a happy place for me. This would be a difficult place. And it was really quite something. I remember getting up in the morning, and when you go to Tübingen in the fall, there's often a lot of fog, lots of clouds. It rains or snows. Sometimes it's not clear what it does, but something comes down. And I was sometimes drinking my coffee, looking out the window, and there was a funeral every day going by. And well, this is why I wrote the third book of poems. Not very humorous. I don't know why, but not very humorous. I'm going to read some of those to you, and then maybe say a few more things about it. And the title of this cycle, it's a cycle of 8 poems. We're just going to read some of it. It's called Gmelingstraße 20, and that's actually where I stayed. That's the address of the place that I was staying at. And when I lived there, there were still, how you say, graveyard keepers living in the same house. They were there every day, and they had to go around and make sure the graves look nice. And one time they actually forgot to lock the door, and I was always curious, so I looked in there. So I sneaked in at night with a flashlight and looked around, and there was a little desk inside with 3 stairs, and on the walls you could see the map of the graveyard with things being ticked off. And then there were like 2 ticks, that means they did it 2 times. If there was 1 tick, they did the grave 1 time, and so you knew exactly where they were. And there's somebody there after you die that takes care of your grave, and it's paid by the community. It wouldn't say it made me feel happy to die one day, but it somewhat made sense. It somewhat made sense that you're being taken care of in some way. Maybe. Gmelingstraße 20, 1. Anfang Oktober zog ich auf den Friedhof, der mit der Unbestechlichkeit des Kiesels den Jahreszeiten Halt gebot. Ich ging im Frühling, im Sommer durch den Monat, jetzt liegt Schnee auf den Gräbern und der November ist seit gestern vorbei.
Gmelingstraße 20. 1. In early October, I moved to the graveyard, which, thanks to the incorruptibility of its pebble stones, offers firm ground to the seasons in spring. In summer, I passed through the month. Now snow has fallen upon the tombs, and November has since yesterday come to an end.
2. Ich war noch nicht fertig. Mit dir, mit mir und überhaupt brachen die Sekunden unablässig hinterm Kupferbau, bog die Zeit ins Präsens. Ich war, ich bin, mit dir, mit mir, noch lang nicht fertig.
2. I wasn't finished yet with you, with me at all. The seconds broke ceaselessly behind a copper house. Time turned to present tense. I was, I am with you, with me, not done at all.
3. Ohnehin fast nur noch blinde Flecken. Der Oberförster, der Oberzugführer, der Knochenmann. Der Oberstudienrat, der Obertribunalrat, der Knochenmann. Ohne ihn fast nur noch blinde Flecken.
3. Anyhow, there are almost only blind spots left. The head ranger, the head conductor, the man without the bone man, the headmaster, the head defender, the man without the bone man. Anyhow, there are almost only blind spots left.
6. Es sind die ungezeichneten Orte zwischen Holz und Holz, zwischen Stein und Stein. Unter der Erde ruht ein Himmel, unbehauen als Findling.
6. It's the uncharted places among wood and wood, among stone and stone, beneath ground. An unhewn sky rests as a founding.
When I lived in that place, I started listening to a lot of John Cash, especially the last 5 CDs that I think are amongst